Next item.
B, Chairwoman's remarks.
I have none. Next item.
C, approve the September 13th, 2023 meeting minutes.
Can I get? It's been, oh. We're using our tablets and,
Cover it all.
so it's been moved by Commissioner Colleen. Can I get support? Anyone? Anyone like to support the meeting minutes? Supported by Commissioner Clark Coleman. All those in favor, please vote.
Motion carried.
All right, great. Next item.
D, unfinished business. There is none listed.
Next item.
Item 1, under new business, forwarding the August 2023 Enterprise Resource Planning / Connect 43 Program Status Report.
Okay, is there someone here for this status report? Or anyone on Zoom? So moving up.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman and Commissioners. I will contact someone to provide an overview of this report and see if I can have someone here before the end of the meeting. If not, I'll wait till after the end
All
of the
right,
meeting.
well, did anyone have any questions or discussion on this?
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner Kinlock.
Oh, hey, him first, I guess.
No, Commissioner Colleen. Go
I'm
ahead.
not worried about that. Thank you, Madam Chair. No, I just wanted to ask, yesterday at full board, we approved the contract with
Oracle.
who?
Oracle?
With regards to this. And I was wondering, is that affecting the timeline? Because it seems like that contract will push things back. So that's what I'm wondering about is how does that affect the timeline?
And Commissioner Kinlock.
Okay, just wanted to state for the record, Darcel, for folks to understand that this ERP is very, very important when it appears before us. Even as reports, folks need to be here prepared to answer questions. We were told that the contract to expect some amendments, to expect some for the timeline to not necessarily, it'd be, in other words, going to be longer than what we were than what we're initially told. So we need to keep a close eye on this, both in this committee and also in Ways and Means, because like I mentioned yesterday, this is something that I think is that warrants our attention. Yeah.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair?
Commissioner Colleen.
Yeah, one other thing with the report, which comes to us as a program status report, and this was just printed off internally, and this is a difficult, for me, if not impossible, report to read and figure out where we're at with this. You know, this is internal documents that everybody understands it's dealing with this on a day-to-day basis. But as far as the status report, it's very difficult to really look at this and go, oh, that's exactly where we're at.
Thank you.
As a
I
comment.
would also like some explanations on the at-risk items that were listed on the report. Darcel, if you could get someone to come join us by the end of the meeting. Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 2, requesting commission approval of a 2-year addendum with unlimited 1-year options to renew to a cooperative agreement with Indigub Corporation for a subscription license for software designed to manage constituent communications for the commission.
All right, we did have an in-depth presentation from Indigov about this contract, and I just did have one question on this. If we do approve this at full board, when would we be able to use the software?
Good morning, everyone.
Is your microphone on, Tim?
Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah, we have Nave from Indigov on the line, and he can probably talk to us about the onboarding process, when it begins, how long it will take.
Okay.
Nave?
Yeah. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, you're a little quiet, but we can hear you.
That's okay, I'll yell.
Okay.
Our standard implementation process typically takes, for commission-wide deployments such as this, about 3 to 4 months, including training time. That time period is variable based on the individual schedules of the staff. We also configure everyone's account to their exact specifications. So depending on your individual and your staff's individual bandwidth, as well as your ability to be able to access the trainings in a timely manner, that onboarding period, as we call it, is variable. Typically, I think it should take in the span of about 3 months, but if there's certain parts of the system or program that you need access to sooner, we can work with our onboarding staff to ensure you have access to those parts first.
Okay, that seems a little bit long. Would we be able to use the software right away? But are you saying it just might take some users maybe a little bit longer to fully learn how to use all of the software?
That's correct. So the newslettering tools and the outbound sending and the proactive messaging tools will probably, if you need those first, we can certainly set those up first. A lot of the management of incoming constituent communications will require integrations into your existing systems, which do take a little bit longer to set up. That being said, if there is a timeline crunch, we could work with your program manager to figure out an onboarding timeline that works best to your schedule and needs.
Okay, thank you. Are there any commissioner questions on item number 2? Commissioner Clark Coleman,
Yes, and that's my question.
is your microphone on? Because I don't think he can hear you if it's not.
Okay, right,
Thank you.
okay. So my concern as well, about how soon, and are they going to be training each individual office or a group training or anything of that sort? But certainly, if there's a portion of it that we can get sooner, for instance, just emails, then we would certainly like that, because we've kind of, I certainly would like to start working with it right away.
Certainly. We can do this. So what I will do is if you have an idea of who would need access to the system first, and frankly, who would be able to pick up the program a little bit quicker, I think those would be the first people to set up their instances as we work through everyone's setting everyone else up. And so that's one of the things that we can work with y'all, as well as the individual staff, and work that into the program onboarding.
If I can add, one of the things we're planning on doing is we get 2, I guess, passes per commission district. One is a heavy user, one is a light user. In addition, there are 3 other heavy user platforms or assignments that we have that Jim Toth, Wayne Peel, and myself will have those other 3, so that we can work with each office to maybe help smooth the onboarding.
Say that again?
Each commission district gets 2 passes to this software.
Okay.
One is a heavy user that lets you do a wide variety of chores. The other is a light version. So perhaps the commissioners may take the light version, and your aide will take the heavy version, because they can be involved in the day-to-day, implementation of mailings and newsletter development.
Sure. Okay.
In addition, things that we've noticed that have helped the onboarding go quicker is that we have a full suite of online module courses that we'll grant you all access to, that can be completed of your own volition. That typically helps things move a little bit quicker as well.
I'll be talking with Tim.
Commissioner Kinlock.
Sir, I just think that you should assume that all of the offices want immediate access to emails in certain aspects that allows for us to utilize the software immediately. Also, during this onboarding process, is there, you're mentioning 3 months, is there a reduction in the cost, or is the cost, the monthly cost associated with the onboarding taken into consideration, the timeline of the onboarding taken into consideration? Because we're going to be paying full dollars, I would, I'm thinking, and not get, full access, from day one. I mean, that's what you're saying, that it's going to be compartmentalized or phased in.
Certainly, and so to unpack, I think there are 2 points to be made here. The first comes to the fact that the cost of that implementation timeline has been factored in to the cost presented in front of you all today. The second is that due to the implementation heavy deployment of our system, I would be extremely surprised if any company in the world was able to hook up all of your different disparate systems into one place on day one effectively, while still adhering to any sort of security protocols that you may have around your constituent communications. The 3 months is a loose estimate. That's my standard estimate. I've seen it go faster, but it's one of those things where my implementation staff get mad if I promise something to happen overnight, So those 2 things have been factored. The timeline has been factored into the cost. The timeline is built out around the fact that we are such an implementation heavy technology program. Now, that being said, as discussed, if there are parts of the system that you would need access to first, we could certainly phase those in first and get you all access to those parts without needing to wait for the full deployment.
Thank you, man.
Okay. Any further questions on item number 2? Commissioner Khalil.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'd like to check in with Commission Counsel. There are limitations in the law for using public dollars, public resources in mailings. Like, for instance, I can't mail campaign literature out through my office. So I want to ask Commission Counsel, do you see any difficulty here? I see there's like a database of 750,000 ready to go, I don't know, emails or addresses or whatever. Counsel, do you see any difficulty in having this system when you compare it to what the limitations are for using public resources to communicate? I hope I asked that properly.
Through the chair to this honorable body. So one disclaimer, I was not here for the presentation, so I did not get to see it live and know exactly what it does and how it's supposed to interact. And my understanding is that there are several features. I believe that what we would do is work with IndyGov to configure this to make sure we are in compliance with all laws. There may be features that maybe we determine that will not be used by the commission. There are other concerns that we'll need to address with regards to how much access we want to give IndyGov with regards to information from commissioners' offices. So there will be some, I would say, upfront discussion, I believe, with IT, Tim, me, just to make sure that we have some certain parameters in place before I would say will be rolled out to commissioners. So I think that any concerns could be addressed.
Okay. Well, I'm glad, Counsel, that you're going to be involved in that, because these can be very touchy things. Because it also talks about capturing people's email, and I don't know if that's what my constituents want me to do for further. So Counsel, you're saying you're going to take a look at it in the setup and make any kind of recommendations or whatever before we go live with it?
Through the chair, I did put in a request to be a part of the initial discussions. I know that we had engaged IT with regards to reviewing. I don't know if they've had an opportunity to do so, but I did request to be a part of that initial discussion, just to ensure that, the legal related concerns that my office has could also be addressed.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Kinlock.
just want to note that it's Chair Bell that's going to determine when this goes live. Yeah. to be involved.
involved in this, yeah, and because this is, I see potential traps here if it's not done right. And that's a stink that's no good for anybody. So thank you, council. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yeah, so that might be part of the 3 to 4 months that is gonna take us to fully be able to use this, is setting up the process of through
Through the chair,
Commission Council and our
I also wanted to add that we can look to the state senate for some guidance on this because they are an IndyGov client. So I think we can look to them for some advice and counsel.
Okay, great. Any further questions? Nice.
Yeah,
Vice
and I was thinking the
Commissioner
same thing
Markle?
that Tim mentioned, is that the state senate has been using it for a while. And I'm sure that they've ironed out all the bugs because they're elected officials also.
All right, you know what, let's go ahead and vote on this item. Can I get a motion for approval? Yeah, number 2.
So
We're
moved.
just gonna go on each one. And is there support?
Madam Chair, I will second it, but with the caveats that going forward here, with the caveats of our council and the committee looking at this carefully to make sure we're in full compliance. So my vote today is to let it go forward, but I'll be looking at carefully at the report that comes out about our compliance.
So there's a motion and support. Please vote on your screen.
Motion carried.
All right, Madam Clerk, next item.
Item 3, requesting commission approval of amendment 2 to a 2-year legal services contract with the 1-year option to renew with Lewis and Monday for improvements to the Rouge Valley sewage disposal system matter.
Welcome. Name and title for the record. Oh, I don't think it's on.
No.
Good morning, Sue Hammoud, Deputy Corporation Counsel. This is a legal services contract for the state revolving fund bonds that Lewis and Monday represents us in. The bonds are issued by the county from state funds that we receive for improvements to the Rouge Valley and other systems. It's a flat fee contract with expenses, and there has been no determination as to what the funds are. Lewis and Monday only gets paid if we actually receive the bonds.
Any questions? On item 3. All right, it's been moved by Commissioner Clark Coleman, supported by Commissioner Colleen. Please vote.
Motion carried.
Right, next item.
Item 4, requesting commission approval of retroactive amendment 3 to a 2-year legal services agreement with Kish Juchas, Wagner, Valentini, and Sherbrooke in the matter of Robert Alexander versus County of Wayne and Heather Gearing.
Sue.
Good morning again, Sue Hammoud, Deputy Corporation Counsel. Where's Commissioner Basham to yell at me when it's a retro?
Here today. So you're in good shape.
I'll get them on the phone for you.
This is a legal services contract. I will let the commission know that this matter is concluded. It was arbitrated back in June, I believe. The reason it is retro is because of the pace of the litigation. The legal services exceeded the amount that we had budgeted for the contract. So I think the amount we owe is less than $10,000, but we asked for the 10,000 just to be safe.
All right, do I have any questions?
I'll move it, Madam Chair.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Colleen, supported by Commissioner Clark Coleman. Please vote on your screen.
Okay.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item. Thank you, Sue.
Item 5, requesting commission approval of amendment 2 to a 2-year comparable source professional services contract for the 2-year option to renew with Actron Integrated Security Systems to continue providing maintenance and warranty of the security access control and camera system located at the Guardian Building First Street Parking Garage, 400 Monroe, Department of Public Services, Field Engineering Office, and the Medical Examiner's Office.
All right, I just had a question for our fiscal department. There were a number of concerns in our packet, and I just wanted to make sure that all of those questions were answered sufficiently and completely.
Through the chair, yes.
Great. Any, any commissioner questions on item number 5?
I'm moving it, Madam Chair.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Colleen, supported by Commissioner Clark Coleman. Please vote.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 6, requesting commission approval of Amendment 2 to a 3-year comparable source managed printer services contract with 1 2-year option to renew with Image One Corporation for maintenance of and toner for clerk's office printers.
All right, this is for printers in the clerk's office. Do we have any questions on this item? Nope. Okay, can I get a motion?
Yeah, I'm moving it, Madam Chair. Let's
And
get the
support?
clerk some toner.
All right. Please vote on your screen.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item, let's move to the agenda.
Item 7 on the addenda, requesting commission approval of Amendment 1 to a 5-year contract with Health Management Systems of America to provide an employee assistance program to employees, their families, and or management designed to reduce pain and costs associated with emotional, social, and physical problems on and off the job.
All right, so we need to, when we move this, we need to make it contingent upon receiving the FEP.
FEP.
The, what does the FEP stand for?
FEP.
Fair Employment Practice.
Ah, there we go. Yeah,
Yes. Thank you.
I'll move it, Madam Chair.
Any questions? It's been moved by Commissioner Colleen, supported by Commissioner Clark Coleman. Any questions or discussion on item number 7? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carried.
It's contingent upon receiving the FEP. So I see Darcel approaching the table.
That's
Do
what
you
we
have
got.
some?
So,
I am back
someone to
again.
talk To us about item number 1.
Yes, and please forgive me. I think earlier I did not state my name and title, but Darcel Brown, Legislative Liaison for the Wayne County Executive's Office. I'm going to ask that this report be passed for the day, and we will be sure to have someone present at the next meeting to provide an overview of it.
Okay.
Mrs. Brown anticipated my motion to pass for the day.
Move to pass for the day. Can I have
Thank you.
support on that motion? It's been supported by Commissioner Clark Coleman. Please vote.
Motion carried.
Okay, next item.
F, such other matters as may be properly submitted before the committee.
I have none. Next item.
G, public comments.
We receive any emails?
No emails were received.
Okay, is there anyone on Zoom or on the phone who would like to make a public comment? You can just unmute yourself. Is there anyone with us in the room who'd like to make a public comment? Last call for public comments. Hearing none, next item.
Adjournment.
So moved.
It's been moved and supported. And all those in favor